So you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas, but you're not sure what to expect. Well, when I moved here almost 20 years ago, I was in that exact same boat. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you the 5 things you need to know before you move to Las Vegas. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video so we can tell you the most important thing you need to know before you move here. Hey guys, I'm Tom Swallow with eXp Realty and Finding Home Las Vegas, the #1 relocation team here in Las Vegas. Tell you what, we're going to get right into the 5 things that I wish I knew before I moved to Las Vegas, with that #1 thing being traffic and road construction. Tell you what, Vegas is really not a tough town to get around in. It only takes 15 to 20 minutes to get almost anywhere, 30 at the most. But I remember when I first moved here, I lived up in the far northwest side of town, and the job that I had then, I had to commute from the northwest down to downtown Las Vegas. My office was in the Bank of America building in downtown Las Vegas. At the time, they were widening Highway 95 all the way out past what we call the Summerlin Curve. It would take me what would normally be now maybe 15 minutes to get there. Back then, it was taking me an hour and a half to get there. I would try the surface streets sometimes, but I wasn't the only one that had that bright idea. So along with the increased surface street traffic and 950 flipping lights, it wasn't any quicker to get there. So it became a major pain in the ass to get to work every day, and I dreaded that drive every day. Since then, those bottlenecks have just moved from one part of town to another part of town, so you're constantly running into backed up traffic with road construction in this fast growing city. It's just part of what it is when you live in a fast growing city. So something to really expect here in Vegas is dealing with that road construction. So speaking of my job back then, a lot of my clients asked me what brought me to Las Vegas to begin with. So in my career before real estate, I was actually a golf course architect. I designed and built golf courses for Jack Nicklaus all over the country and in many other countries for almost 15 years. I had the extreme honor and pleasure of working alongside Jack, the greatest golfer of all time and arguably the greatest golf course architect of all time, designing golf courses all over the place. I got to live in some amazing places like Palm Beach, Florida, Aspen, Colorado, Costa Rica, Cozumel, Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, Scottsdale, Arizona. They typically don't build Jack Nicklaus golf courses in crappy spots, so I was very, very fortunate. So Jack and Nicklaus Design moved me here in 2005 to head up a huge project north of Las Vegas called Coyote Springs. Coyote Springs was a development that sat on 43,000 acres, and it was master planned for 160,000 homes and 15 golf courses over a 50-year build-out. We were already contracted for the first 5 golf courses, so I was going to just retire right here building course after course. But then the Great Recession came along, and the reality is golf courses are amenities to real estate development, so when they stop building houses, they stop building golf courses. So my company asked me to make the move to China, and unfortunately I had just recently been divorced, and my kids at the time were only 4 and 6 years old. So leaving my kids behind was never an option that I even considered, so I had to decline that opportunity. Ended up getting laid off with about half of the company. And then I got my real estate license and been doing it ever since for the last 13 years, and I absolutely love it. So if you had any interest in what brought me to Las Vegas to begin with, there you go. Okay, on to reason #2 of what I wish I knew before I moved to Las Vegas, and that is the water restrictions and the lack of grass and the lack of green here in Las Vegas, actually. So before I lived in Las Vegas, I lived in Palm Springs, California. Built 2 golf courses there in Rancho Mirage, California, actually. And even though one's a desert and the other's a desert, Palm Springs is very different. They don't have any water restrictions there. They actually sit on a big aquifer there that has plenty of water. And Palm Springs has tons of grass and lakes and palm trees and golf courses and parks, and it's just green, green, green. Where Las Vegas is generally brown. Now we have some areas of town that are grandfathered in with lots of grass and trees, like Green Valley Ranch and Summerlin, for example. But in general, it's kind of brown, and it's something that I've always had a hard time getting used to. Funny story is, after we moved here in '05, in the neighborhood that we bought in, up in the Northwest. A year or so after we moved in, the HOA decides to just come pull all the grass out of the common areas of the neighborhood, out of the medians, in between the curb and the sidewalks, pulled out trees, and then had the audacity to assess us and have us pay for it. So they totally ruined the look of the neighborhood and put it all into rocks and totally changed it. Now, I get it now that water restrictions are needed here in the desert, especially with the water shortage and the drought that we've had over the last 20 years. But at the time, I didn't like it very much. So another thing that's going on here is a few years ago, they passed an ordinance that any new homes that were built weren't allowed to have natural turf in the front yards. They could still have them in the backyards, but just not in the front yards. But as of 2024, that ordinance is not going to allow any new home construction to have any natural turf whatsoever. Also, SNWA, the Southern Nevada Water Authority, has a program that will actually pay homeowners, existing homeowners, if they'd like to pull the natural turf out that they have. They'll pay them per square foot to do that, to then take it and put it into to drought-tolerant desert landscaping or artificial turf. So, we're continuing to work with the water restrictions to help with the drought situation here in the desert. But it is something that I've struggled with over the years. That it's just not as green as I wish that it was. So if you're moving from another part of the country that's really green, it might be something that bothers you. I've actually had a lot of clients tell me that they really prefer to come here and not have to deal with yards and grass and mowing and all of that. So it is a positive thing for some people. So something to think about, that we do have water restrictions and there's not a lot of grass here. All right, number 3 thing that I wish I knew before I moved to Las Vegas was the heat. Whew, it gets hot. It can get really, really hot. It's that 2.5, 3 months out of the year where, it's hot. There's nothing you can say about it. I lived in Palm Springs, as I mentioned before, which it gets really, really hot there. Before that, I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. It gets really, really hot there. Lived most of my life in the South and parts of the country and parts of the world where intense humidity, and I don't miss that at all. They can have it. So if you live in a part of the country where you think it gets hot, well, just be prepared when you move to Vegas for those days in July and August where you walk outside and it's like a pizza oven blast hits you in the face. It is really, really hot. So how do we deal with that as locals here? We even struggle with it sometimes. We forget how hot it gets until summer rolls back around, and then we have to get acclimated to the heat every year, just like you will when you move here. So, but you will get acclimated, and it's dry heat. Don't forget, it's a dry heat. Again, compared to that humidity I grew up in. It's funny. I was gassing up my car the other day, and I was standing in the shade, and there was a breeze blowing, and it was well over 100 degrees. And I thought to myself, it's really not that bad. If I was in the South and I was standing outside, I would be pouring sweat, and it just wasn't. It wasn't that. So, how are some of the ways that we locals deal with the heat here in the summer? Well, one of them is you got to have a pool. You either have to have a pool in your backyard or you have to have access to a community pool. Another reason you need to hit us up so we can tell you everything you need to know about living here in Las Vegas. We can help you find that home with a pool so you can enjoy the best thing about coming home after a long hot day is to jump in that cool pool in the afternoon. Have friends and family over on the weekend for a dip in the pool, have a barbecue out, have some cocktails and some brewskis out by the pool. It's a wonderful thing. So we can help you find that home with the pool. Another way we deal with it here is a lot of locals really enjoy going out to Lake Mead, what we call the lake life. Every weekend they're out with their boats and their jet skis and their pontoon boats, and they're setting up a shade structure in the shallow water of a secluded cove out on Lake Mead, and having drinks and floating in the water and just enjoying the time with music and friends out at the lake. That's a wonderful way to deal with the heat. Another way that we all love is that quick little getaway that we have up to the mountains, to Mount Charleston. Truly a treat to get out of the desert heat. You go up to Mount Charleston in the middle of the summer. The The daytime temps are in the 70s when it could be 110, 115 down on the valley floor. So tons to do up there. Just great hiking, great hiking trails, camping, just a lot to do up at Mount Charleston. There's cabins you can stay overnight or for the weekend. There's the resort at Mount Charleston where you can go up and stay for a weekend, or just go up for breakfast or for brunch just to get out of the valley. So we love our Mount Charleston as well. So those are just some of the ways that we deal with the heat here in the summer in Las Vegas. That's actually a very good segue into number 4 thing that I wish I knew before moving to Las Vegas. It was actually a pleasant surprise, was the amount of outdoor activities that there were here in Las Vegas. We have, just as I just mentioned, Mount Charleston, which is only 30 minutes from the northwest part of town, maybe 45 minutes from downtown, maybe an hour from Henderson or the southeast part of town, but it is so convenient to run up to Mount Charleston. I love to camp, and I've spent many nights up in Mount Charleston, one of the great campgrounds up there, sitting around the fire, staring at the stars in the night sky. If you, in the wintertime, we've got the ski and snowboard resort at Lee Canyon. It's got a great snowboard park for those of you that like to ride. It's got some really great runs for those skiers who want to go make some turns. As mentioned before, you've got the cabins and the resort up at Mount Charleston. So just a great getaway and great activities up at Mount Charleston. We also have Red Rock Canyon, which is literally 5 to 10 minutes out of Summerlin on the west side of town. You've got these gorgeous red cliffs with amazing hiking trails, picnic areas, unbelievable sightseeing. There's incredible world-class rock climbing if you were talented like that. If you're not quite that talented, there's great places to just scramble up the rocks and hike up and climb around on the rocks. It's a great getaway during the day or for a few hours. For locals and tourists alike, they love Mount Charleston. Then again, we've got Lake Mead with all the fun that you have to do out there. So the outdoor activities was a pleasant surprise that I found out after moving here from California. So that takes us to the 5th thing that I wish I knew before moving to Las Vegas. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, the most important thing that you need to know before you move to Las Vegas is, where is the best part of town to live in? So when we moved here back in 2005, it was way before Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin, and we 100% had to depend on our realtor Jimmy at the time to find these houses for us. So he drove us all over the northwest part of town in Summerlin, and we had no idea what these houses looked like before we pulled up in front of them and walked into them. We were walking into them totally blind. We didn't know anything about the neighborhoods, nothing about the areas, completely dependent on him at the time with no other resource. So that's where we come in now. With today, you have the technology that you can look at the houses online, but you have no idea about the parts of town. That's why you need to hit us up. We can help you. All you need to do is tell us 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you like and don't like, and we'll be able to narrow down the best parts of town for you to find the right home. And that's kind of the way it should be. It's a lifestyle. We need to find the best area of town, and then we'll zero in and find the perfect home for you. That's why we named our site and our team the Finding Home Las Vegas team, is because it's not about finding a house, it's about finding home. And that really is about the lifestyle. So the only way we can help you with that is you got to hit us up, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or schedule a Zoom call so we can help you find that perfect area of town. Then we'll zero in and find the perfect home for you there. So another way that you can learn about the town, and something that we've put together, is our self-guided GPS tour. What we've done is we've taken the city and broken it up into 8 different tours. You pick the tour that you want. You then pick one of the suggested destinations that we've put in kind of like a loop. You pick that destination. You can pick either the Google map or the Apple map. Pulls it right up on your phone. You just follow the GPS directions to that spot, explore around, check it out. Then you hit the next one on the loop. Pulls up the directions, follow the GPS to that one. It's just a great way to explore at your own pace and at your convenience. And then, once you've narrowed that down, that's when you hit us up, and we can then go into a little bit more detail, really fine tune that, and then find that perfect home for you. So if you want to learn how to use the GPS tour, check out this video right here. And until the next video, we'll see you around town. Bye.